Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Yarno and today we're going to be talking about hunting boots. I'm going to be sharing my 5 must-haves that you should look for in your hunting boot, and this is based on my own experience, particularly going from a budget pair of boots to a more premium boot, and the differences that I found have just been a game changer out in the field for me. So let's get right into it. Number 1 on my list is the boots have to be comfortable. They have to fit your foot right. If you have a narrow or a wide foot, you want to find a boot that's made for that type of foot, for your type of foot. And also pay attention to leaving a little bit of room in there for a heavier sock for when the temperatures get colder out. You might want to also pay attention to the lacing system because that does impact boot comfort as well. You know you've done it right when you're out in the field and you're not thinking about your feet. Your feet aren't hurting, they're not cold, not paying attention to that, and you're enjoying the hunt. So you know you got a great pair of boots when you're not having to think about your feet. Number 2 on my list is the boot sole. And this is actually what made me switch to a better pair of boots from my more budget boots, because I was slipping and sliding particularly on wet rock and wet logs. My older pair of boots, they're made of this foamier, lighter material that when it got colder out, they just became ice skate, and I was slipping and sliding everywhere. I was dropping my gun, hitting my scope, and it just wasn't a pleasant experience, and I had enough. So I switched to a better pair of boots, and I highly recommend the Vibram sole system. The material they use in their rubber is great, and actually as the temperatures get cold, this rubber tends to get even grippier. So I highly recommend that you look for the Vibram sole. Also look for a tread pattern that's got big lugs that are spaced wider apart. That will prevent the dirt from sticking and building up in your boot, so when you're lifting your foot up, that mud and dirt will actually be falling off of your boot. That won't be impacting your traction when you're out walking around, hiking around, hunting. Number 3 on my list is you want to have a boot that's waterproof. Gore-Tex membrane systems are great for that, and also leather boots are wonderful, but you got to make sure that you keep the leather oiled, because when you have a dry leather boot, it'll actually start absorbing that water from the environment around you, and that in turn will then transfer and get into your boot and your feet will be wet. So keep your leather boots well oiled, and that will actually repel the water. Number 4 on my list is get a boot that has good ankle support. As hunters, we're carrying around equipment. Often we have heavy packs, especially when we're packing out that animal that we just harvested, and we don't want to roll our ankles, we don't want to break our ankles, so the support system in the boot is vital. So look for something that is higher backed and just supports that ankle. Number 5 on my list is pay attention to the boot flex. You want to get a boot that's made properly for the type of terrain that you're hunting in. If you're hunting in steep terrain, you want a stiffer boot to help kind of side hilling and digging your foot into the side of the mountain to get that traction, that grip without tiring your foot out. And in the lowlands and the flatter surfaces, for obvious reasons, you want a softer boot just to help you walk properly on that type of terrain. I went with a medium flex because I hunt a little bit of both, but not super extreme on either end, and that's really worked out well for me. So pay attention to the flex rating of the boot that you are looking at purchasing for your next pair of boots for hunting. One bonus thing, I wouldn't worry too much about the weight of your hunting boot. You will get used to it. Just training and being out in the field, it doesn't really make that much of a difference as long as you're not wearing something like a steel-toed boot or something like that that's extremely heavy. And that's actually one of the main reasons I went with this budget pair of boots, is they were so lightweight. But honestly, switching to the more heavier weight premium boot, I haven't noticed a difference at all, and your body just gets used to it. So don't worry about that too much. Great brands to look for a premium boot, of course, Crispi, Kenetrek, Low, Schnees. There's a ton of them out there, and actually you can find great prices throughout the year if you just pay attention to sales happening at your local hunting stores. So get out there, pay attention to sales. The spring hunting season is just around the corner, and next month I'm actually going to be getting out for a small game snowshoe hare hunt. Looking forward to that, and spring bear is just around the corner. Thanks guys for joining me today. Hope you're doing great, and we'll see you on the next one.